Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is the Our Turf Football Podcast. I'm Dana. That's Kate. Lisa's coming. Lisa had to reboot her computer. And if you've been watching us for, all of these years, you know that happens a lot. So we're going to roll with it. Lisa, you join us when you can join us, and I'm excited to see her too. But Kate, it's so nice to have you back. You've been gone for a couple weeks, had a little tropical vacation that made us all very jealous.
Did, and then last night we decided to road trip to Pittsburgh for the Monday Night Football game.
Out of nowhere, there's a picture
I have
of you
decided that I am too old to get home at 3 a.m. and then go to work the next day. So that will be my last road Monday Night Football game.
I did something similar to that. You know, when the Rams were still in St. Louis, last year they were in St. Louis. My son and I were like, oh, the Seahawks are playing the Rams on Monday Night Football. Let's just go. So we left and we hauled butt over there, and it's about 4.5 hours to St. Louis. And then you get over there, and then we're like, we're just driving back. We didn't get home till like 3:30.
Yeah. I mean, and as much as with our rivalry and stuff, that I can't stand the Pittsburgh Steelers, Pittsburgh is a nice town. It's very easy. There's a website, I don't know if it's available everywhere, but if you're going to Pittsburgh, called Spot Hero, where you can get parking spots. I got a parking spot for $5.
Nice.
In the PPG garage. We walked 3 blocks to their little RTAL, whatever, rapid transit thing. It's free either all the time or on game days. Went down 2 stops and got out of the stadium. Could not have been easier to walk around then. It's a nice city. I'll give them that. It's a nice city.
That's awesome. All right. It looks like Lisa's here. Lisa.
There she is.
Get it together here.
All right. Yeah. Give Lisa a minute, but she's here with us too. So, week 2. Okay. So we talked about, Kate, you missed it last week, but we talked about last week on how the NFL was pretty much just drunk, right? Like the first week made no sense in any way, shape, or form. And then this week, it was better, right? It was like, all right, here we go. This is some normal looking football until last night. What the hell happened to those games last night? But there was a I really felt like you could feel some of these teams settling in. Week 1 was just, excuse my language, a shit show. And it was just so much better this week. So that was really good. It was really fun. Sadly, we had a bunch of injuries that are just gross and team changing and talent changing and heartbreaking. But I do want to take a minute, and I'm going to get this out of the way now but Kate, you only have 3 minutes, but I want you to talk to us about that game last night and what all went through your head, and the text that you sent us, which had me cracking up. It was crazy.
Wait a minute.
Okay,
wait a minute.
All right.
Hold up a second. I have to say something.
Oh Lord.
I wanted to do this before the show, but I have to say something that happened last night. And I think it's because maybe, like 10 years ago, I got a notice that we formed this company, that we went from NFL to Our Turf. It's been 10 plus the years of NFL female. Right. So I was like, wow, we've really done some tremendous work here. And we are very blessed to have the best of both worlds. We really are. We can go to fandom, to media. Kate just came from the Hall of Fame. I'm watching this game last night, these games, because we had 2 going on.
Yep.
So I'm watching these games. I'm analyzing, right? I mean, I'm in this mode, Dana and Kate. I'm watching the quarterbacks. I'm watching this. And then it happened. And for you guys that are watching, we talk to each other during the games. I mean, we're tweeting, especially with Nick Chubb.
And texting.
And the funny picture. And Dana's like, oh my God, it was horrible. It really was. And then all of a sudden, this tweet comes from Kate.
Text. It was a text, not a tweet. It was a text. Yeah.
A text. My quarterback is such trash. I literally spit my drink out because at that moment,
I wasn't going to bust you, Kate.
It went through my soul because I was just like, I was there with her. I'm like, yeah, she's in the fandom. She totally gets what's happening right now.
Oh my God. Lisa, you are 1,000% correct. We are so lucky that we get to straddle that line a little bit more than the beat reporters and so many others. There's this great clip of a Seahawks reporter who works for Seahawks.com when Tyler Lockett got that walk-off touchdown in their overtime game, and she just jumps up in the air and starts screaming. We get that too. Like we're so lucky we get to play that game and go in between. and we get to be reporters and we get to do this. We are so lucky. But of course, and then I'm so glad you said that because I forgot about Donkeys. So our sponsor, we want to thank, of course, Donkeys Cheesesteaks for sponsoring our podcast, which gives us the opportunity to do both sides of the coin there. 3 locations, Medford, Mount Holly, and Camden. And you can also check them out at goldbelly.com. So, all right, Kate, I brought this up because our friend RMCB, as I like to call him, RMC. Hi, Cleveland. Kate, what emotions were you going through when you saw that play that ended Nick Chubb's season? I want the emotions from the whole game, though, because I know how deep this rivalry goes.
So I do.
I know.
We went, and we're in a section of Steelers fans, and there are some very nice ones and there's some very obnoxious ones. I was surrounded by all of them. When I go to games, I get, especially if I'm here, I am very anxious, and I am walking around and I am throwing things and I am saying bad words, and I can't be in the family section. It's bad. I don't go to them in Cleveland just because we went to this one and I'm in Archer football mode. I'm trying to distance myself, and I'm watching, and they stand up like the whole time. I don't know if it's this thing in Pittsburgh. They stand up for 10 minutes and then they sit for 10 minutes and then they stand. I'm standing on my chair because I need to see over the people in front of me. And I'm standing there, and people are turning around and looking at me because I'm like, I don't know why Deshaun can't hit Njoku at the low post. He's right wide open over there. And I'm analyzing the plays. And I'm like, oh, Chubb's not even on the field now. I guess Jerome Ford's going to get no yards. Like, I am just running my own commentary. Both offenses were trash last night. Nick Chubb was running all over that Steelers defense like it wasn't nothing. And Jerome Ford got 106 yards in 2.5 quarters. Their run defense is trash. The rest of their defense is pretty good. Mm-hmm. But my offense is trash. Deshaun Watson can't hit anybody. He's throwing over their heads and into the stands and at their feet and at people in the wrong uniforms. And Kenny Pickett didn't have a better night either. The Pittsburgh Steelers offense was trash as well. It made, I think, both of those defenses look better than they are. Mm-hmm. Now, it's Monday Night Football, which is frustrating if you're at a game, because first you have all the idiots who are trying to just get on camera, and then the TV timeouts take forever. I noticed in Acrisure Stadium, I keep wanting to call it Heinz Field, Acrisure Stadium, they actually have, like, on the sides where they have the scores and things of what's going on, they have a timer that tells you TV break and it counts down.
Oh, nice.
They're much longer TV commercial breaks during Monday Night Football than a regular game. Mm-hmm. So that was nice. When we were in the corner of the end zone, we were in the area of the field where Nick Chubb got hurt. When he got hurt, I said, he's not getting up. And my husband said, they can't show the replay. He saw more of it than I did. And then we looked up, and it took a little while, and the cart immediately came out for him. And I am just standing there like this, and I can feel my chest starting to do this and my eyes starting to get up well with tears. Damn. Partly because I'm a fan, and this is my team, and he is one of the shining lights on this team and on this offense.
100%.
But also because he's just a good dude. Mm-hmm. We won't talk about the kind of dude I have under center, but Nick Chubb is a good, solid dude. And I just felt so bad for him. This is the same knee that he tore up against Tennessee when he was at Georgia in 2015. He tore his MCL, ACL, and PCL when he dislocated it 8 years ago, and they had to rebuild it. I'm not ready to say he's out forever. Definitely the season, depending on how they fixed it last time. Maybe they can fix it again. I don't know if he'll want to come back. But they finally showed the replay, and they showed it once. And the entire stadium of nearly 70,000 people all went.
Kate, you could hear it on the TV.
And then it was quiet. And then they didn't show it again. And then my daughters are texting me like, Mom, did you see it? They're not showing the replay on TV. And I'm like, don't. And of course they go looking for it because my children. I have not seen the video. I saw it happen. I saw the one replay in the stadium, and I've seen a couple still pictures. I don't need to see the video. He looked okay as far as, like, a lot of times you see some of these injuries where the guys are just, you can tell by their face, they are just rolling around and in pain, and it's hard to watch them. He knew what he did.
No, he knew because he'd done it before. He had done it before. He knew exactly.
Let me tell you what he did.
As someone who has broken the same ankle 5 times and have it surgically repaired twice, the second time they had to completely reconstruct my ankle. I know the minute it's broken, and I can tell you that without even thinking about it. So he knew exactly what it was.
So he knew.
Sure.
So, I mean, it was difficult to be there. I've been told that I'm not allowed to go to Pittsburgh for games anymore. Because the last game I was at, there was an incident with a helmet, and Myles Garrett was the last time I was in Pittsburgh. And now I may have witnessed Nick Chubb's last play as an NFL football player.
I know. Isn't that just gut-wrenching?
It makes me sad. And also because we've talked about this on this podcast a couple times, how devalued the running backs are and how the teams won't pay them. And this is exactly why. This wasn't turf. This is a grass field. Yeah. It was a freak accident. The defender was on the ground. I don't think it was any kind of a dirty hit. Nick Chubb is very hard to bring down, and you've just got to wrap and grab and fall and do whatever. And dude went down, and he just went over. It's a freak thing. 99 out of 100 times, it's just a tackle, and he gets up and continues. So I don't think it was any of that. But it was just a very emotional thing because in a lot of ways that could be the end of the Browns season. They're using it now as like billboard material, and we're going to dedicate the season to Chubb, and we're going to do this, that, and the other. There are already, I'm trying to start the Jonathan Taylor rumor. The Cam Akers rumor is starting. I don't know why he was a healthy scratch this week, but he was.
Because Sean McVay's an idiot. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So there's rumors that they're talking to him. People are saying Kareem Hunt's in town. I don't know how to break the news to people, but he actually lives here. He's from here. He went to high school here. So if he's in town, it could just be because that's where he lives. But I've also heard he put on 30, 40 pounds since the last time he played, and he's not looking good. So I don't know what they're going to do. They may just roll with Jerome Ford. If you have Nick Chubb in fantasy, go get Jerome Ford.
Oh, honey, I already put in a waiver wire for him on both my leagues.
In almost every league. He's probably gone everybody's waiver wire this week. Part of Chubb's success, aside from the fact that he was just a good running back, is that offensive line. And even with the Jack Conklin injury last week, knocking him out, Juwan Jones has come in and has done a decent job. And again, Jerome got 106 yards yesterday.
Right.
So if you're looking for a backup, he might be your best bet, depending on what you're looking at on waivers over the next few weeks.
Well, it was interesting that you could just feel even the Pittsburgh fans, the air was taken out of them. You know what I mean? When that happened. And that's just those kind of, because we all love and respect good football players. And that's just the way it is. Yeah, that was heartbreaking. He was not the only one though. There was a whole list of injuries. Kate, I think you said you were going to look that up for us.
Yeah. And on that same play, Minka Fitzpatrick hurt his chest and he was out the rest of the game, but they didn't really talk about it because the Chubb injury was so big.
So he went to the hospital for a chest contusion, and they released him this morning. So apparently he's fine. So that's good.
Yeah. So the Aaron Rodgers injury in week 1, and now the Nick Chubb, I think, have the biggest effect on their overall team. But there are quite a few. Saquon Barkley has got an ankle injury. He did not practice yesterday or today, and they're not, really sure how long he's going to be out. Brandon Ayuk, the wide receiver for San Francisco, it hurt himself on Sunday as a shoulder injury, and he is going to be out for a little bit. I had a list of the guys that were on IR that I didn't even realize. The
Colts player. Who was the Colts player?
The Broncos is on IR. There's 178 people on the IR list already.
Good God.
It's on the official IR list. It's insane. The Saints have Jamal Williams, their running back, and Kendre Miller, the other running back. Both have hamstring injuries and both were inactive last night and may not see the next couple of weeks. At my list. Then Jalen Waddle, Lisa.
Yeah.
What's going on? Jalen Waddle and Salvon Ahmed, the running back.
What happened there?
Waddle's in concussion.
Yeah, Waddle's been hurt. Yeah, but he's been hurt. He's been playing with a big muscle for the last couple weeks. There was talk that he wasn't even going to play game 1, which he kind of did. I think they kind of put him in there. I don't think they expected a lot from him. He was a good decoy, caught a couple passes, but he took a shot last night. Whew. Like I said, I think they're going to be extra cautious with a lot of these guys that are taking these shots and, doing the reviews and checking them. So concussion protocols now are what, 2-3 weeks?
Yeah, the Chargers are giving a no timeline for when Eckler will be back. They want to make sure he's happy or he's healthy. Bengals are taking a look at Joe Burrow. He's got some issues right now, and they're in no rush. We talk a lot about how like weeks 1 through 4, 1 through 6 are kind of not meaningless, but we're shaking the rust off. We're trying to figure out who these teams are. And I think a lot of them that are having these early injuries are going to let these guys sit a couple weeks to make sure they're at least 90%, if not 100, before they put them back in.
A couple more injuries, of course. Colts rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson has a concussion. We don't know how long he was having a monster game before that too. He looked so good. And then a big one for the Panthers, Shaq Thompson broke his leg. Oof. So he's going to be out probably for the rest of the season. Possible that he'll be back at some point. So there was a lot. The point of the list when you give you the list is not just it's A, so you know who's injured, but B, how quickly in a season injuries can completely derail a season. And that's why we always say, on paper, this is what should happen, but it doesn't always work out that way. And let me tell you, can we talk about the Saints, the Bucks, and who was the other one in that team? Who else has that? Is 2-0? There's 3 in that.
Washington.
The Commanders.
Yeah.
2-0. Ladies, do you remember what we said about that division?
I'm still going on schedule. Because when you look at the schedules, out of both teams, the Bucks, I think, played a better team than the Vikings the first week. They played a lot better than I thought they would. And then they came back, and then they had a mediocre team. Washington, but this week, I think the Commanders go against the Bills, and the Bucks have the Eagles.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
You're getting ready to find out. And I think, one of them played the Cardinals, who Dobbs did good. They had Josh Dobbs in their quarterback. He wasn't too bad. He kind of put some points up on the board for the Cardinals, but Sam Howell's playing pretty good. So they'll be tested this weekend. You're going to kind of see if this is just a schedule kind of thing going on, because they both got monster teams coming up.
So the other team I was trying to think of in that division, Graham just said it was the Falcons. Yes, that is who I was thinking of. Thank you so much. I was looking at all the teams as fast as I could. The Falcons. Now, this is what I want to say about the wins in this division. They're not pretty, guys.
No,
they're not. They are fight to the death. No, as long as you get that win at the end. But Lisa's point is correct. When you start to go up against teams that are at a higher, I hate to say talent level, blue chip level, those elite players, that's when you're not going to tip that scale over to your side. I will say this about the Falcons, though. They are using Bijan Robinson brilliantly because, and Jim Isray, you might want to pay attention to this really quick. When you have a really good running back and a newer-ish quarterback, you use your running back to help your newish quarterback. Amazing how that works. Wondered if he'd have a concussion if he'd done that. Not that Anthony Richardson looked like he needed any help, but he was doing good. But impressive coming out from those for sure. There's a lot of 2-0 teams. I'm not surprised that the Dolphins are 2-0. We knew that team was going to be really good. I'm not really surprised that the Ravens are 2-0. I am a little surprised that there is not a 2-0 team in the AFC West. At all. The Las Vegas Raiders are on top there, you guys. It's pretty interesting. But it is the Cowboys, the Eagles, and the Commanders in the NFC East. All of them. But all of them are 2-0.
That's a good division. Like when we talked about that division, their expectations are higher than when you look at the NFC South and it's the Falcons, the Saints, and the Buccaneers. That's it'll be interesting to see. I know they're playing tougher teams, but it'll be interesting to see if winning breeds winning. If that mentality of, we're winning, we're 2-0. Maybe we don't suck. Maybe we can play with the big boys. If that mental boost helps them, because that's a division that I thought everybody was going to be 8-9, 9-8.
They still could be.
The Jags will win at 10, but to start the way they did they're beyond what people expected for the beginning of the season, which is probably the best for teams like that, and at least for their fan base, to get them kind of revved up and excited about the season. I think I'm more surprised that the Bengals are 0-2 than I am.
We're going to get to the 0-2 teams, but I want to stick with the 2-0 teams first. So let's do one at a time. So interesting, a good point, Kate, I think, though, is especially within the Falcons, Saints, and Bucks division, is those division games now are going to mean so much. Now, I've said it a million times. There are some great rivalries in the NFL, but the one that gets overlooked the most is the Saints-Falcons rivalry. I'm telling you guys, when they play each other in a week, just go look up their hashtags. Holy crap. I have never seen fighting like that in my life. Like it's so fun to read. But I think that's what's going to make that fun. Sure, they're going to lose to some of these better teams. Derek Carr, I'm so shocked that he has not settled in a little bit better than he has. But at the same time, week 2, as like you mentioned, Kate, we always say you have to wait till week 4 to 6 to know who your team is. But I find that that's really interesting. But I want to talk about the NFC East for just a minute, because I got some crap online when I said the Cowboys were going to the NFC Championship game. And I'm just going to keep reminding everyone of that until they don't. And then I'm never going to mention it again. But I think this division is going to beat the ever-loving tar out of each other. And I wouldn't have said that after week 1 and seeing the disaster that was the Giants. But the way the Giants came back and won that game against Arizona, yes, I know it was Arizona, but they were down 20-0 and came back and won. There's a lot of heart on that team. Saquon is going to be huge. Hopefully he'll only be gone for 2 to 3 weeks is what they were saying. But that division, when they play each other, is going to be some of the most fun football to watch this season. I'm so excited. I'm so excited about those teams right now. Lisa, if you had to look at them, and I don't know how many of their games you've watched, it's only been a couple weeks. It's hard to say who the best team is in that division. I know the Giants, let's set them aside, but the other 3, even the Commanders right now, they look good. I'm
not on the fence with the Commanders yet. I'm just not.
Okay, fair enough.
Just because of their schedule. Like I said, I'm more impressed with the Bucks, with the Vikings type win. I need to see more. But like I said, division games are division games. We've always said that. It records out the door. I mean, these are 2 games, especially the Commanders and the Cowboys. They always go after each other. The Eagles. The problem is the Cowboys always play solid in the regular season. I don't think that's ever been an issue.
I think
it's
right.
Getting past the point, and it kind of reminds you of the Chargers, because it's just where does it stop? It's just always boom, boom, boom. Dak hits the wall. Mm-hmm. Herbert's getting the same MO. Boom.
Yeah, right now that Dallas defense is legit. That is a legit scary defense. I'm already scared of my fantasy football team's hopes and dreams on it since I'm
already scared of them. Yeah. I'm already scared of them.
The point differential in that division, I was looking at, the Cowboys have scored 70 and only given up 10.
Oh my God.
The Eagles have scored 59, given up 48. The Commanders 55, given up 49. They're more
those
balanced.
Are out the record when they played.
I know 40 of it was against the Giants, and those poor Giants who started the season 0-60 from a point standpoint before apparently their offense was decided to join the rest of us in 2023. It gave them a big boost, but that defense is legit.
Oh my God, it makes me so happy.
Our friend Michelle is probably so happy.
I know, we need to have her on. Yeah.
He's a beast.
He is. Oh my God, he is. All right. So let's talk about these 0-2 teams. No surprise to me, the Arizona Cardinals, not in the least. Carolina Panthers, was hoping for better, but let me tell you, he looked better yesterday in that. I mean, that game was, again.
Talk to me about what you talked to me about, though.
Turnover.
Talk to me about what you talked to me about. Remember the lackluster.
I'm telling you, it's very interesting to me. And I in our text thread that we all chit chat through the games, I said, I don't know what it is about their quarterback, Bryce Young, but he seems very lackluster. Like, he's like, oh, turnover, just kind of walks over. There's no fire. There's no passion. And maybe.
But he was that way in Alabama too, though. If you watch film on him, you watch tape, when you look at the process, here, he totally looks like a deer caught in headlights. This game is coming at him fast. It just seems to me like he's just a little overwhelmed. I think he's trying to keep himself calm, to be honest with you. It seems like he's always constantly like looking around, like trying to keep calm.
See, I don't even know that I think that he looks like a deer in headlights. I think he looks like he's a little bored. Like
there was one pass.
Yeah,
Good
maybe.
Lord.
But here's my thing.
Huh?
I think that someone needs to shake him and be like, you are the leader of this team. Where is your fire? And quit throwing.
We need to find out who the quarterback coach is. Who's the quarterback coach of that? You need to find out who the quarterback coach is.
And then someone needs to tell him to quit throwing to Adam Thielen only. Because that was like after a while. Because pick. All of the Monday night, there was 10 picks between the two of them, I swear. Like it was insane, right? 4 picks in a quarter. That was the Browns Steelers game.
Their blueprint is pretty easy to
for sure
decipher, right? Mm-hmm. I mean,
they need Jonathan Taylor desperately.
You know what you need to do,
right? So really interesting there, but good luck to. I really wished. I hope that they do well. Minnesota Vikings, Chicago Bears. I did not expect the Vikings to be at 0-2 in any way, shape, or form. And I did not expect to see Green Bay sitting at the top of that division. I mean, it's 2 games in. We know that, but then you go up. The Chargers and the Broncos are both 0-2. I will tell you though, the end of that Broncos game, that was pass interference on that 2-point conversion, ladies and gentlemen. That should have been called. So Russell Wilson would have tied it up at that point for sure. But still, don't know if they would have even won in overtime. So we'll see. So you got 2 0-2 teams there. The Houston Texans, no surprise there. I thought CJ Stroud looked a lot better in this game. You can see him progressing every game. He's not going to be a rock star probably for 8 weeks, but he's getting there. It's been impressive. And then you have... Go ahead.
That's the difference between him and Bryce Young, right?
Yes, thank you.
It was the battle on drafting them. CJ kind of had that same kind of look last week. This week, he's starting to get it. Like he's slowly connecting the dots and starting to get it. And they're both
starting to slow down. Starting to slow down a little bit.
Starting to slow down a little bit for him. And maybe that's why it's a good thing that there were some losses in his college career. And when you play in college at a school that never loses, you don't know how to do with that. You don't know what to do with that adversity. And if you want to be drafted number 1, you're going to lose some games because you're going to a really crappy team.
Exactly. Let's talk about the Cincinnati Bengals a little bit. Lisa brought them up just a little bit ago. 0-2. I think it's pretty well obvious to everyone who watches football that Joe Burrow is not himself. He probably has been injured this whole time and should not have been playing. And the rest of that team doesn't quite know what to do with themselves. It's true. Like they just all are going around in circles. What is happening in Cincinnati outside maybe of the Joe Burrow injury? Because I think that's probably a good 75% of it, to be quite honest with you.
Well, expectations won. I think, like you said, they just, whether he was 75% or not, I still think they expected him to be much better than he is, especially coming off of a monster contract being signed like that. So fans are going to scream. This is a guy that is the highest paid NFL player. That
not anymore.
Not even. Well, yeah, I know, but I mean, go Mahomes. So they said that
it changes every day.
They said basically with him, it's. I think the injury was very apparent in the first week. I wish they had just said it.
Yep.
And said that, but it definitely will. I've re-aggravated, and they're still kind of hush about it. But that whole team has more problems, like you said, more than Joe Burrow's.
Yeah.
This is going a little bit deeper. The offensive line. Where'd they go?
Well, they were crap last year too. To be honest with
they
you.
were, but I kind of figured and it was. If you watched last year, you're absolutely right. He was running for his life last year. Now he can't run because he's injured. So now he's taking a little bit of a pounding. So he can't get to Chase. I think it's just the same thing with a lot of teams. I mean, offensive lines matter. If you can't give these quarterbacks time, regardless. Mahomes
Joe Mixon can't get any yards because that offensive line is crap.
Exactly.
So if you can't run the ball, it makes it harder to pass the ball because that's all you got and your quarterback's injured.
It all goes together.
Yep.
And it's just not together for the Bengals right now. They're not clicking at all. Offensive line is crazy. Burrows is hurt. I don't know how long he's going to be out. Calf injuries can take a while.
Especially, I just think that they just rushed him back. And so he injured it probably worse than he would have been. He probably would have been back week 3 and everything would have been fine at that point. Yeah, that's a hard one to watch. Let me tell you, my friends here in Kansas City aren't heartbroken over that. Man, they have a stick up their butt about Cincinnati Bengals. They
Really?
hate that team. And it's hilarious because I'm like, really? Joe Burrow's kind of awesome. No, Dana. They're awful. That's what happens when you get beat, I guess. All right. The last team that's 0-2 is the New England Patriots. I have a theory.
This makes me smile.
I know it makes you smile.
But you got to understand, last time the Patriots went 0-2, they won the Super Bowl. So it's like you can't.
Not with this team, they're not. Let me tell you this. Lisa said, should we talk about coaches who might be on the hot seat already?
Come on. No.
They're not going to fire Bill Belichick. Of course not. But will he finally be done and maybe just retire and be like, I am sick of fighting this fight? He's the oldest coach in football. He wants Schuler's
No,
record. He's not. He's 4 months younger than Pete Carroll, I think.
Is he? Pete's the oldest.
I think Pete's the oldest. I think by 4 months or something. Yeah.
I don't know, but did you see how he fired that flag? Was that not the funniest thing ever? I mean, I don't know. He's just fun to watch because when they're losing, he's fun to watch.
Because he's a grumpy old man.
He is. He's a grumpy old man. Exactly. He's a grumpy. I mean, that was straight fire right there.
It was. He was mad. It was hilarious. Kate, if you have not seen that because you were out somewhere, you need to go find it. That's funny.
I will go.
And here's interesting. Graham has a good point. Graham in our comments. Hi, Graham. He won't go until he has the record.
I just said that. Said that. Stop stealing my stuff, Graham.
He wrote it before you said it.
It's time-stamped, Lisa.
Yeah.
It's time-stamped from England, right? Across the pond?
Across the pond. He's up late for us.
He is.
Yeah. What's interesting to me about this is I love overreactions, right? And that's what's happening all over this league right now. Huge overreactions.
Yeah, but you don't want to fall behind.
And that was my point I was going to make, Lisa, is that. And Kate, I want your thought on this too, because this is you too. This is your team. The NFL scheduled a lot of back-to-back opening division games.
Yep.
Weeks 1 and week 2. We aren't used to that. They might throw a divisional game for a few teams, but there were a lot of teams who played them back-to-back.
Back-to-back.
And I think that's almost a disservice. It's like we've said, you've got to, wait a few weeks for your team to come in. But man, they're just like, nope, here you go. Roll the dice and let's see. Because that could have huge implications down the road.
So in baseball, there's a saying that you can't lose the pennant in April and May, or you can't win the pennant in April and May, but you can lose it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in football, that's very similar. You're not going to win the Super Bowl because you do well in weeks 1 through 4. But if you go 0-4, it's very difficult to come back from that when there's only 17 games in a season.
Right.
And I think that's what some of these teams are facing. 0-2 is you can. The Patriots have done it, right? You can start 0-2 and get to the Super Bowl. You get to 0-4, and I'm looking at the schedule and the games ahead for some of these 0-2 teams. It ain't getting easier in the next couple weeks, and you may, because of the competition in your division, find that yours just aren't enough games. If you win out 11-4, 12-4, 13-4, I can't do math, isn't enough. You can't get too far behind too fast. I mean, this early in the season.
Because week 4 could be a must-win game already. For a lot of these teams.
When they're divisions like this. I like them the way they do them so at the end of the season because it matters.
Yeah.
So those last few weeks matter. I like that. I don't mind starting off the season with 1, but then I look at the schedule and I'm like, how have some teams played 2 divisional games already? Some played them more. Some haven't played one yet. I'm like, can we at least make everybody do their in their division the first 2 weeks if you're going to do that? It's kind of brutal. So we'll see.
It is. And I get they do it for drama, just like Seattle opening against the Broncos last year. They wanted that Russell Wilson
Browns,
Seattle.
Panthers.
Yeah, they wanted, and this year we opened up against the Rams, and the Rams are much better than people thought they were going to be. They actually really held their own there for a while against the Niners, and so that's good. I mean, I'm glad for them. But here's the thing: when you just keep throwing these divisional games, and the Rams were back to back, they had Seattle and then they had San Francisco.
They did.
That is hard.
That's
right?
a brutal schedule.
Yeah, that is hard, and so I find that really interesting for the schedule makers that they have decided to do that. It's interesting to me, but well, let me tell you guys, it's been eventful. But I think in the next week or two, we're going to really see some of these teams start to settle down. The mistakes are going to go away. These rookies are going to settle in, even get better. Or, let's hope that they all stay healthy. I'm really worried about Anthony Richardson. I want him to do well. And so I think that that'll be really interesting. But over the next couple of weeks, there's a lot of really tough games coming up. So I think it's going to be really fun to watch. So of course, we will be back again next Tuesday at 8 p.m. right here on YouTube. And if you guys watch us on Twitter or on Facebook, that's great if you watch after it's live. But if you're watching it live, come to YouTube. You can chit chat with us in our live chat. Send us your questions. Send us your comments. We like to post them. We like for you guys to have a voice. So if you're doing that, please come on over and hang out with us on YouTube. All right, everyone. We will see you again next Tuesday. Good luck to your teams and hope no one gets hurt. Bye, everybody.